Welcome to this, the first race in the From Zero to Hero Championship by Danish sim racing club. This series will be a championship where everyone will be driving the same car and the car changes for every racetrack. We are starting off with BMW M2s here on Brands Hatch. The weather today is typical British rain, and according to the forecast, it will not let up for this race. A wet race it is. We have a green flag. The race is on. Nikolai Larsen in car 737 has taken pole position and will be leading the pack into turn 1, immediately taking the lead as expected. Nikolai is the big favourite today, having dominated both free practice and taking pole position for this the first race of the championship. It will be interesting to see if anyone is capable of challenging him today. It seems everyone is safely through the first couple of turns, and as we head down Cooper Straight, it is Nikolai Larsen leading from Dennis Knudsen, with Lloyd and Jan Stig Larsen hot on his heels. What do we have here? Car number 1 Henriksen and car 11 Rasmussen seem to want to occupy the same piece of tarmac. That never goes well. They touch and Henriksen careens into the barrier while Rasmussen gets away more or less unscathed. Surely something for the stewards to look at after the race. As car number 1 gets away again, we move to the front of the field where an early four-way battle is brewing. Lloyd in third place is leading Larsen in car number 535 with car 90 and car 42 all clamouring to take that third place, and Jan Larsen gets ahead of Lloyd as we go through Dinglebell and Sheens towards Stirling's, where he emerges in front. Great move by Stig Larsen. Down Clearway's BMW number 90 of Nielsen is looking to overtake Lloyd, who seems to have lost a bit of momentum. Nielsen will take fourth place from Lloyd, who heads into the pits for a very early pit stop. He will be looking to take advantage of the clear air he will emerge into for sure, but it will be a tall order for Lloyd to gain in whole position, now having to run the rest of the race on one set of tyres. It will be interesting to see how well he does with this strategy. Rasmussen, who had a run-in with Ericsson, is now running 7th. His car looks a little banged up, but he is keeping up with the drivers around him just fine. Oops. Rasmussen runs into the sand trap, keeps the car straight and rejoins safely, but will lose the place to Ringson, who is ready to pounce and take advantage of his mistake. Meanwhile, we have a battle raging for third place between Larsen, Nielsen, and Sko. Less than a second separating them, they are neck and neck, and Nielsen loses it in the right-hander going uphill. He crashes into the barrier and tumbles down the order. Car is looking a little the worse for wear, and he drops 4 places, ending up in 8th. He will surely have to consider going into the pits for a repair. That car looks battered. Rasmussen goes wide. Nielsen moves up the inside and takes 7th place from Rasmussen. Somehow the car seems to be running fine despite a loose hood and lights going on and off under heavy braking. Great stuff from Nielsen. Nielsen looks to gain some ground again and is really pushing it in his battered up BMW, but he puts 2 wheels on the curb and spins out, crashing into the barrier yet again. This is not looking like a good day for Nielsen. Surely he will be heading into the pits now, as his car looks wrecked. He does head into the pits for a much needed repair job. Hopefully that will be it for the bad luck of Nielsen for today. Sko in car number 42 is closing in on the number 38 BMW. Sko is all over the back of him as we go into the last turn, looking to get a run on him across the start-finish line. Larsen runs a little wide and Sko pounces on him going alongside, down the straight, and outbraking him into turn 1, taking 4th place away from him. Nielsen comes out of the pits ahead of Sko after having his BMW repaired. He will be shown the blue flag here for sure and will likely have to let Sko and Larsen pass, unless he can up his pace and pull away from them. At the back of the field, we join Rosendahl and Gamelgard, who is fighting it out for 11th place. Rosendahl is quickly catching up and will be looking to put the move on Gamelgard down the back straight. He doesn't quite make it though, and they are side by side through the next couple of turns before Rosendahl finally manages to get ahead. Great racing from these two and a nice move by Rosendahl, who takes 11th place. Further up the field, we have Tobias Nielsen running in 9th, looking to try and stay ahead of Henriksen in 10th, but going uphill into turn 2, he outbrakes himself and hits the barrier. Not what he was looking for. Thank you very much, says Henriksen in car number 1, and Rosendahl and Gamelgard will also pass Tobias, who is surely using bad language over the radio to his race engineer right about now. If you remember, Lloyd made a very early pit stop and is now running in spot number 13, but quickly catching T. Nielsen and J. Rosendahl in 11th and 12th. Nielsen dropped to 11th after hitting the barrier, and now Rosendahl is looking to take that away from him as well. As we go down the back straight into the 3 fast right-handers, we can see Lloyd catching them pretty quickly as they are fighting it out. Nielsen takes a very defensive line in the last right-hander, and Rosendahl and Lloyd are now both breathing his exhaust fumes. Having gotten a very poor exit, Nielsen gives up trying to defend, and Rosendahl and Lloyd both slip past him. Lloyd gets the better run out of Sterling's and is looking to overtake Rosendahl down clearways. He thinks better of it though as they head toward Clark Curve and slips in behind Rosendahl. That was a good move by Lloyd, who gets a much better exit and just roars past Rosendahl down Brabham Straight and advances to 11th place. Lloyd is making up ground. Meanwhile, Jan Larsen running in 3rd is being hunted down by BMW number 42 with Kenneth Nielsen's number 90 BMW in between. Nielsen is a lap down after his numerous outings and subsequent visit to the pits. Sko gets a slipstream by Nielsen and is catching him slightly as they heads towards Clark Curve. Larsen is already there and oh dear, he puts 2 wheels on the outside of the turn and is sent into a spin. Parking it on Brabham Straight, Nielsen and Sko both pass him safely, but then Nielsen once again wants to make sure that there is still a sand trap on the outside of turn 1. Guess that is one way to adhere to a blue flag. Behind them, Jesper von Ringston is being caught by Mikkel Larsen as they head down the start-finish straight. Larsen takes the inside line and puts his nose where it hurts. He doesn't quite make it alongside Ringston before the turn, and as Ringston takes his ideal line through turn 1, Mikkel Larsen is very close to hitting the back of his car. Ringston notices Larsen being there and a quick reaction saves them both from contact. Well done by Ringston to avoid a tap with Larsen here, who was a bit optimistic with the overtake, but it works and Larsen is now running in 4th. At the front, Nikolai Larsen is sitting comfortably in 1st place, despite a bit of a blunder in the last turn doing much the same as what Jan Stig Larsen did earlier. Nikolai manages to keep the car straight though, and doesn't lose more than a few tenths. As we ride on board with Nikolai, we get to see how smoothly he drives. It is always a pleasure to see him at work. Guess being an airline pilot in his spare time has taught him to go easy on the controls, and it shows in this race where being smooth on the rainy tarmac is ever so important. Just watch the precision through the first turns here and how calm everything looks through the fast right-handers. It does seem like his scare in Clark curve has made him a bit more careful than he would normally be, but it works out in these conditions and he has a comfortable lead in this race. Nikolai heads into the pits for his mandatory pit stop, and oh my, it does not look as smooth as what we have just seen. He almost loses it on entry. Manages to get the car pointed in the right direction though, and this might very well be the signal for the rest of the field to start making their pit stop as well. As if on cue, Dennis Knudsen heads into the pits on the very next lap, making sure Nikolai does not get further away from him than absolutely necessary. Jan Larsen also heads into the pits just as Knudsen in car number 20 is heading out again. Knudsen shifts early into third, which disengages the pit limiter. It looks to me as if he exceeds the speed limit, which would be a bad mistake for him. Let us see if he manages to get away with it. Oh no. He doesn't and is handed a 30-second stop and go penalty. Not what he was looking for today, as he was running in second place and looking to take a good result here. He will be kicking himself. Sko will also be taking his pit stop, and that is it for the front runners. Everybody has had their pit stops now, and the race reaches an equilibrium again with everyone running stable lap times. We fast forward to lap 26, where the number 11 car of Dennis Rasmussen is being hunted by Mikkel Larsen in car number 38. Going into turn 1, Rasmussen is catching a back marker. It is Tobias Nielsen in car number 2 who runs wide and takes Rasmussen with him. Turn 1 has seen many victims this afternoon, and as it claims another, Mikkel Larsen will advance to 6th place. On lap 28, we have Sko catching up to Lloyd, who is now running in second place after Knudsen botched his pit stop. Very well managed by Lloyd to get so far back up the order after his pit stop on lap 1. But will he be able to keep number 42 behind him? Sko is out there on much fresher tyres and it shows. Sko is edging out a few tenths in every corner it seems, and as we go through Druids and down into Graham Hill Bend, it is clear to see that those tyres have much better grip. As we head down Cooper Straight and into Surtees, Lloyd brakes just a little bit too late and leaves the inside wide open. With his much fresher tyres, Sko takes advantage and goes on the inside to take the lead heading onto the back straight. For the rest of this race, nothing much happens as everyone seems to have settled into their respective positions, and after Sko's overtake of Fleming Lloyd, nothing much has changed. With his fresher tyres, Sko has kept adding distance to Lloyd in third, but has been unable to do anything about the smooth, fast pace of Nikolai Larsen, who is cruising it home to a comfortable victory. Nikolai is catching Nielsen, who is running a lap behind, and Nielsen indicates to the left as we go down the back straight to let the leading car pass. As Nikolai passes him, something goes wrong. It looks like the lead car is having a technical issue. He is slowing down drastically, and it looks like he is going to come to a complete stop between Dinglebell and Sheens. What a disaster for Nikolai, who has been leading this race from start to finish. What is going on here? Let us see how far behind him the other top runners are. Jan Stig Larsson is at turn 2 with Lloyd at the end of Cooper's Stray. What about Sko in second place? It looks like Larsson is still stuck with a dead car. Nikolai does get the car started though and seems to be able to finish the race after all. What a dramatic finish to this race. Will he be able to stay ahead of Sko? He will, and with lights flashing, Nikolai Larsson crosses the finish line as the winner of the first racing from zero to hero. What looked to be a comfortable victory almost turned into a disaster. It will be interesting to hear from Nikolai what went wrong there at the end. Sko will head over the finish line roughly 10 seconds after Nikolai, despite having been almost 40 seconds behind him going into the last lap. Lloyd will take third place, with Jan Stig Larsson taking fourth. Ringston 5th and Dennis Rasmussen 6th. In 7th place we have Mikkel Larsson, and in 8th it is Dennis Knudsen, who will be sorely disappointed after running in 2nd place before his pit stop. Kenneth Nielsen will take 9th place, and the top 10 is rounded out by Dan Anderson. Anderson's car looks like it has been on quite a journey, and he turns off the road immediately to park it right by a marshal, who will certainly get a scare out of that maneuver. An exciting first race, and I am sure we are all looking forward to the next race in this series.